Welcome back to the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School Arithmetic program. In this lesson, we're going to continue our study of numbers and counting. In this lesson, we are going to finish counting. Yes, in this lesson, we are going to finish counting. Let's continue going over some of the numbers that we've already learned how to count. Point to each number and read it with me. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Did you remember all these numbers? If not, stop here and practice. If you did remember all these numbers, let's go ahead and keep counting. After we count to 19, counting gets easier and easier. The hardest numbers are from 1 to 19. The higher we count, the easier counting gets. Here, let's practice counting by tens. We're going to count the numbers from 10 to 90, but we're only going to count the tens. Let's count by tens. Point to each number and read it with me. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Can you count by tens? If you don't know how to count by tens yet, stay here and practice on this screen. If you do, let's keep on counting. Once you can count by tens from 10 to 90, counting gets even easier. Here, let's practice counting by hundreds. Point to each number and read it with me. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Each one of these numbers has a certain number of hundreds. 200 has 2 sets of 100. 500 has 5 sets of 100. 800 has 8 sets of 100. 900 has 9 sets of 100. What comes next? We know that 300 is 3 sets of 100, and 700 is 7 sets of 100. We know that 900 is 9 sets of 100. But what do we call 10 sets of 100? What is the name for the number that contains 10 sets of 100? 10 sets of 100 is called 1,000. 1,000 contains 10 sets of 100. 1,000 contains 10 sets of 100. If you look on your screen, you can see the number 1,000 written. You can see that there is a 1 in the thousands place, a 0 in the hundreds place, a 0 in the tens place, and a 0 in the units place. This is the number 1,000. When we write the number 1,000, we usually put a mark after the thousands. This mark is called a comma. We write a comma after the thousands. So 1,000 is written with a 1 in the thousands place, then a comma, a 0 in the hundreds place, a 0 in the tens place, and a 0 in the units place. Point to that mark on your screen and name it. It's called a comma. Comma. So you can see there are two different ways to write the number 1,000. You can write the number 1,000 with a comma or without a comma. On the top, we see the number 1,000 written with no comma. But on the bottom, we see the number 1,000 written with a comma. Both of these are correct. You can write 1,000 with a comma or without a comma. Now, if you know how to count from 1 up to 9, and I know you do, you can count all the way up to 9,000. Let's count from 1,000 up to 9,000. Point to each number and read it with me. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. You can count all the way up to 9,000, and you're only in Petty School. I have some good news for you now that you know how to count all the way up to 9,000. You know what the good news is? We're all done with counting. Now that you can count all the way up to 9,000, we're done with counting in Petty School Arithmetic. What are we going to do next? Now that we're done with counting in Petty School Arithmetic, we're going to start practicing writing numbers. We're going to learn how to write any number in the whole world. To write a number, we simply write how many thousands, how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many ones. To write any number, we simply write how many thousands, how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many ones. For the rest of this lesson, we're going to practice writing numbers. Let's go ahead and practice. What we're going to do for the rest of this lesson is this. I'm going to say a number. It could be any number I choose. I'm going to say a number, and then you have to write it. You don't need to use a pencil or paper. You can just tell me or say out loud the numbers that you would write to make this number. Let's go ahead and do our first one. How would you write the number 81? 81. In the next screen, we'll see the answer. 81. The number 81 is made up of 80 and 1. We learned that 80 was the name for 8 tens. 80 is the name for 8 sets of 10. So to write the number 81, we write an 8 in the tens column and a 1 in the units column. 8 tens and 1 unit make the number 81. Let's go ahead and practice some more. How would you write the number 104? How would you write the number 104? Remember, to write a number, you simply write how many thousands there are, how many hundreds there are, how many tens, and how many units. How would you write the number 104? Here you can see the number 104. You can see that there are no thousands in the number 104, so we leave that place empty. The number 104 has 100, 0 tens, and 4 units. 100, 0 tens, and 4 units makes the number 104. Let's try another number. How would you write the number 437? How would you write the number 437? 437. Here you can see how the number 437 should be written. The number 437 is made up of 400, 30, and 7. To write the number 437, we write a 4 in the hundreds place for 400. We write a 3 in the tens place for 30. And we write a 7 in the units place. 437 is written with a 4 in the hundreds place, a 3 in the tens place, and a 7 in the units place. 437. Let's try another number. How would you write 754? 754. How would you write the number 754? Here you can see the number 754. 754 is made up of the numbers 750 and 4. To write the number 754, we write a 7 in the hundreds place for 700. We write a 5 in the tens place for 50, and we write a 4 in the units place for 4. 754 is written with a 7 in the hundreds place, a 5 in the tens place, and a 4 in the units place. 754. How would you write the number 399? How would you write the number 399? 399. Here you can see the number 399. The number 399 is made up of the numbers 300, 90, and 9. To write the number 399, we write a 3 in the hundreds place, a 9 in the tens place, and a 9 in the units place. To write the number 399, we write a 3 in the hundreds place, a 9 in the tens place, and a 9 in the units place. 399. How would you write the number 212? How would you write the number 212? 212. The number 212 is made up of 212. To write the number 200, we write a 2 in the hundreds place. To write the number 12, we write a 1 in the tens place and a 2 in the units place. 212 is written with a 2 in the hundreds place, a 1 in the tens place, and a 2 in the units place. This is 212. Okay, let's try a big number now. How would you write the number 1010? 1010. How would you write the number 1010? Writing the number 1010 isn't very hard at all. We simply have to write how many thousands, how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many units. To write the number 1010, we simply need to write that there is 1000 and 110. 1010. There's a 1 in the thousands place, followed by a comma. There's a 0 in the hundreds place, a 1 in the tens place, and a 0 in the units place. This is 1010. Let's try writing another big number. How would you write 3,546? 3,546. 3,546. Once again, you'll see that writing big numbers is not very hard. To write the number 3,546, we simply need to write how many thousands there are, how many hundreds there are, how many tens, and how many units. For 3,546, we write a 3 in the thousands place for 3,000. After the thousands, we put a comma, and then we write a 5 in the hundreds place for 500. We write a 4 in the tens place for 40. And lastly, we write a 6 in the units place, 3,546. Writing numbers is very, very simple. Let's write one more number in this lesson, and this will be the biggest number that we ever count or write in Petty School. How would you write the number 9,999? 9,999. Once again, writing big numbers is not hard. We simply have to write how many thousands, how many hundreds, how many tens, and how many units. In the number 9,999, there are 9 thousands, and so we write a 9 in the thousands place. After the thousands, we write a comma. In the hundreds place, we write 9 for 900. In the tens place, we write 9 for 90. And in the units place, we write 9 for 9 units. 9,999. How about some Latin? Let's review the Roman numerals we learned a long time ago in Petty School Arithmetic. Point to each Roman numeral and count it with me. Ready? Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem, undecim, duodecim, tredecim, quattordecim, quindecim, sedecim, septendecim, duodeviginti, undeviginti, viginti. We also learned that the Roman numeral for 100 was centum. Centum. Centum is the Latin word for 100. Centum. 100. Centum. Now let's learn how to count from 200 to 900 in Latin. The number 200 in Latin is ducenti, 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 200, ducenti. The Latin number for 300 is trecenti, trecenti, 300, trecenti. The Latin name for 400 is quadragenti, quadragenti. The Latin name for 400 is quadragenti, quadragenti. The Latin name for the number 500 is quingenti, quingenti, quingenti. Notice that the symbol for the number quingenti looks like our letter D. Quingenti, quingenti. The Latin name for the number 600 is sescenti, sescenti. You can see it's written with the symbol for quingenti and the symbol for centum. 500 and 100 makes 600. Sescenti, sescenti. The Latin name for the number 700 is septigenti, septigenti. 700 is septigenti. Notice the number is written with the Roman symbol for 500 and 200 more. 500 and 200 makes 700, which is septigenti, septigenti. The Latin number for 800 is octingenti, octingenti. 800 is octingenti. And you can see the Roman symbol is the symbol for quingenti, or 500, and 3 symbols for centum. 500 plus 300 makes 800, or octingenti, octingenti. The Latin name for the number 900 is nongenti, nongenti. Nongenti is the Latin name for 900, nongenti. You can see that the number nongenti is written with the symbol for centum before a symbol that we haven't studied yet. In our next slide, we'll learn what this symbol is. The number 900 in Latin is written non-genti, non-genti. The last Latin number we're going to learn is the number 1000. In Latin, the name for the number 1000 is mille, mille. It's written with the symbol M. Mille, mille, 1000, mille. Now that we've learned the Roman number mille, you've seen all of the basic Roman numerals. Point to each numeral with me and say its name. Unus, quinque, decem, quinquaginta, centum, quingenti, mille. Let's read that together one more time. Unus, quinque, decem, quinquaginta, centum, quingenti, mille. These are the basic Roman numerals. As always, we've learned a lot in this Petty School lesson. Let's stop here. Now it's time for you to study. You should be able to count all the way up to 9,999. And you should also be able to write any number up to 9,999. You should also know the Latin numbers from unus to mille. Now it's time to study. I hope that you've enjoyed this lesson in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School Arithmetic program. To learn more about the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, visit us online at www.classicalliberalarts.com. God bless you.